covering all the news from every dark corner of the universe. SliceofSciFi.com.
And greetings, everyone, to another Slice of Sci-Fi. I am Michael R. Menenge.
I'm Noah Richmond.
I'm Ben Raggington.
I'm Sam Roberts.
And I'm Keith Lane.
And I'm Megan Zier.
And that is the cast for today, and we are doing something a little different. This is normally our interview show, and it is still an interview show, but we're not actually interviewing anybody this week. We are going to kick it over to Hypno Comics. George is going to interview a really cool guy. His name is Ivan Van Norman.
And right there, he wins me with having a name like Ivan. Right? But he's done lots of other cool stuff. He's a role-playing game designer. He's a fire dancer, reality TV personality. He's from Torrance, California. I love these little tidbits from his bio.
I know, some really cool stuff here.
He only watches cartoons and the History Channel. His favorite show.
I like him already,
I know,
there.
Right? But wait for it. His favorite show is listed as My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Bronies!
Yeah.
Hey, why not? I like the Powerpuff Girls. I mean, I'm a big Powerpuff.
We don't judge here in Geekdom, right?
Go.
Everybody
That's
gets
it.
their own thing. But he's probably most well known for his work on the game Outbreak Undead and for his appearance on the reality TV show King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're excited about George's talk. So
Absolutely. But so let's kick it out to the Slice of Sci-Fi Studios in L.A. Ventura, California. There you go.
Somewhere out there.
Somewhere out there.
SliceofSciFi.com.
Hey guys, this is George over at Hypno Comics in Ventura, California, hanging out with Ivan Van Norman, also known as the Dragon.
Yeah.
All right, let me start right there. Why the Dragon?
You know what? It's funny because when TBS first picked it up, they did all these camera interviews with us where they're just like, okay, tell us about yourself,
right.
You know? And a lot of us, they hadn't even really been decided if they were going to pick us yet. So, of course, one of the things the interviewers always wanted to ask me about, because in my audition video, I had like dragon tables and like a dragon coffee table. And I talked about like my dragon tattoos.
Right.
And they're like, so what is it about dragons? So, and of course I gave my spiel. It's like, I think they're majestic, amazing animals. They represent everything that we love about what we want to be. Like, they're intelligent, they're powerful, they're creative, they're wise.
They like gold.
They like gold and they breathe fire.
Right.
Like, there is nothing cooler, fictional or non-fictional, that's a dragon.
Sure.
And I was like, and that's what I described to them. So, of course, what do they do when all the advertisements come out? They're like, hey, here's Ivan, he's the dragon guy.
Nice.
Which is just fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
And
yes.
and I don't mind. So yeah, so ever then it's like everyone has been identifying me as the dragon, which is perfect because I do identify absolutely with that.
Well, and now after the show, looking at some of the social media, because I follow you.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy way.
Oh, it's that social media is creepy. Let's just put it out there, just in general.
But you have
There's
your
no way
dragon
around it.
minions. You
Yeah.
got your dragon,
My dragon
followers.
warriors.
Yeah, your dragon warriors. There. That's the phrase. Okay,
That's
so
fun, and I think it's a badass thing. I would love, like, if you think about all the wonderful literature out there. At one point, it's like the Dragon Riders of Pern are probably. I would kill to be one of them. Like, to go out into battle riding a dragon, nothing cooler in the planet.
My wife's a big fan of that.
Screw horses.
Yeah.
Screw even riding elephants.
Yeah.
It's like riding a fire-breathing elephant through the air. That can rip stuff apart.
So you've read all the Dragon Riders of Pern stuff?
Yeah, I like McCaffrey a lot.
What about the Dragonlance Chronicles? You down?
I've read. I'm starting to catch up on them.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, like, I was obviously doing D&D before Dragonlance, but some of them, they're so well written.
Yeah. Well, I like it when it's written by Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman. Those are the ones that I really like
enjoy. Like the original run. And actually, that's what kept TSR alive for so long.
Yeah.
Like, in between, I think it was like, in between first edition and AD&D, it was like the Dragonlance series is what kept their book.
Yeah.
publishers up for
Good
forever.
stuff. You know, they should make a movie out of that someday. But,
Speaking of that,
yeah, right.
you heard about they're doing the new movie, right?
Yeah. Well, the animated one.
No.
No?
No,
They're doing live action?
They're doing another live action.
Ooh, breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. Breaking news that's a couple months old.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
No, it's true though. A lot of people are talking about it and they're like,
well,
because it has some of the original people from the other films on it.
the
so-
first D&D movie sucked.
Yeah, so did the second one.
Even
So-
Jeremy Irons couldn't say that.
I know, but I love Jeremy Irons. And Richard O'Brien was in it. He was
Yeah.
the King of Thieves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
the reason I watched it, because I was a Rocky kid
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of Rocky horror. So. You
All
know.
right.
Actually, I don't think I've said that on camera yet for anyone yet. So that's fun.
So, well, let's talk about your time that you spent on. I'm gonna
show?
move over here out of the sun.
Yeah, it's fair.
By
By the way, awesome shop. I have to tell you, like,
Thanks.
it's the big thing about like comic book stores, especially nowadays, is like inviting, friendly, bright, and clean.
it has to be.
Clean is so important, and
Yeah.
it's like I almost look at that as like the first thing I come into a comic book store. Is like, one, is it well kept?
Yeah.
You know. Two, does it actually have stock? And three, what's the cool shit that they have inside
Right,
of it?
right.
You feel all three.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I
Well-
work hard at it.
Yeah.
You know, and the stigma of old, dark, cluttered.
Dungeony.
Okay, let's wait. The guy from the comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah.
That's it. That's done.
It's
That's
done.
done, people.
Old times. And it's funny because they always say, and I've met a lot of stores, but there are still lots of people who own comic book stores, not because they want to be businessmen, but just because they love comics.
Sure.
And they haven't learned how to make a business out of it yet.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
so vital. You can employ people like a comic book guy because
Yeah.
they know what they're doing, but you can't run a comic book store.
You can't run it. No,
like
not
comic
that
book
way.
guy.
I mean, it's a business.
It's a business.
fun business.
Yeah.
It's my hobby, but it's also my livelihood.
Yep.
So
There you go.
know. Yeah, but thank you. I appreciate the
And this is
compliment
and
on
this
the
is and this is a good way of doing it.
Yeah, thanks.
So you were saying?
I want to talk about the whole King of Nerds thing. We
Yeah.
you know we watched it at our house.
Yeah.
We were rooting for you,
Appreciate that.
especially after the whole cosplay. It was fucking brilliant. Can we say the F word on here? It's
All right.
It's fucking brilliant. Loved it.
Well, I felt it was so awesome that we got cosplay so early.
Yeah.
Because we had the big teams.
Yeah.
And we had all these ideas. And I'll tell you, by the time we hit that downstairs war room, I already had 3 ideas of like core storyline
Yeah.
things that we could do. And I presented them to the team. I was like, okay, we could do this, this, or this. What do you guys think? Without
Yeah.
shoving it down their throat. And it still
What's
was.
up, Nick?
How's it going?
Come on in. You go out there. Go check out Zombie Outbreak in the back.
Yeah, we're doing a
Say
demo.
hi to Ivan, Nick.
Hey, Nick. Nice to meet you.
I tried to call you and see if you wanted a burrito.
I appreciate that. See the love I get from my customers here.
Make sure they give you burrito day, right? So good. So anyway, as we were saying, we spent it was so good that we had that huge team at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got downstairs, I had 3 separate ideas to pitch to them, and I wanted us all to agree on it, because the last thing that you want is someone to be like, no, this idea sucks, like,
Yeah.
I want it, and then it becomes a huge issue everywhere. Done enough collaborative things to know that everyone should be on board from day one.
Yeah.
So even though we only had 2 days to do it,
Really? You guys only had 2 days to get all that
24
together?
hours.
Wow, that's awesome work.
24 hours. Yeah.
Good.
And we were up late, but we weren't up as late as the blue team.
Yeah.
After I presented these 3 ideas, they all just latched onto immediately the like elder god with a cult.
Yeah.
You know, and it was interesting because we just did the stilts and we came upstairs and like those were my stilts, by the way. Those weren't
Oh,
provided
nice.
for us. I actually own
You just
those.
carry stilts around?
Well, they said bring your stuff,
Fair enough.
so I brought
All
my
right.
stilts. Why not? Right? Because it's fun.
You never know when you're going to need stilts
Never.
for some cosplay.
Especially bouncy stilts.
Yeah.
You know? And and the showers were stained for the rest of the show. Yeah, it took like 3 sessions to get all that red paint off.
Off you?
And I
Yeah.
still looked like I got sunburnt after I got it all off.
Yeah.
So,
So let me ask you this. I'm sure, what was your, was that your favorite competition on the show?
I would say that, and then my competition with Joshua.
Yeah.
It was like, that was so epic. just the very, very like, oh wow, it's really, because we joked about going against each other even before we knew it. We were like, oh, it'd be awesome if we fended off like Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh wait, now
You know?
he was with you at WonderCon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So still besties then?
And that was the joke. Is
Yeah,
that we were
all
going to
right.
go afterwards because we played up that joke so much. We're like, well, let's go to WonderCon as Sabretooth and Wolverine because that'd be hilarious.
And you guys did. That was
Let's do that.
It was great costumes too, by the way.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
So actually, one of my other favorite moments was obviously the Joshua Ivan battle.
Right,
You know, 'Cause
right.
we joked about that a lot on the show. It's like, oh, it'd be awesome if we fended off like Obi-Wan and Anakin or like Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because we felt really fun about it, and we. It was kind of like a peer association, like, I'd love to go toe-to-toe with you.
Sure.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
And then we didn't expect it, but then it happened.
It came down to it.
And so it was such a great build to see that all happen. And I say it, and I'll still say it to this day, I would have been happy to go home by Joshua.
Yeah.
It would have been fine by me. It was nice that it wasn't me, but would have easily had done back and forth what it had been. But then, of course, we went to WonderCon to play up that joke, cosplayed as Wolverine and Sabretooth.
And Sabretooth, right.
So yeah, so actually, so he sticks around. He's an LA local too.
Okay, that's cool.
So's Genevieve and Mujige and Virgil and John.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of kids in LA. Although John moved here from the South to go to school in LA. So he came in after the show.
Okay.
to be there.
So what was the least favorite?
Well, the least favorite was towards the end. I'd say actually the last days were the hardest because by that time we had been there for so long.
Because you guys were there just
so long, and actually by the time I was eliminated, I didn't even care. I was was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just ready to move on.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, this happened. It was a great experience. I loved it. But like a lot of the other people, they got time off. You know, as a kind of, because I was one of the final four. It's like I was there.
you were there for the whole run because they got time and they all got to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all got to
That's
come
right.
back.
Yeah, if I remember.
So I
correctly,
didn't have any decompression time.
Yeah,
You know, it was just
Okay.
okay, and it was fine because then we all got to be part of the voting process and then got to hang out. But like that final night, it's like I had been playing my game the way that I had wanted to, and I was on. Like I was just playing as hard as I could the entire time, but then my dial was definitely turned down for those final couple days, mostly because of the exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to know how Genevieve was feeling.
Yeah,
She
that's
probably
true.
was not only exhausted, but also dealing with the pressure of like having to get that last little bit going, you know? So yeah, that was
that was the least favorite.
but otherwise the entire experience, it was awesome.
So talking about you guys were there basically on lockdown unless you got to go out. So is that why? Because it looks like things got pretty emotionally charged. I mean, there's a lot of crying on that show.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the,
I mean, just because it was like, was it such a pressure cooker?
It was, every reality show is a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Because that's what the point is.
Right.
Is to create the pressure cooker. Now, how everyone deals with stress differently, and that's the deal, is that everyone handled themselves in their own way.
Sure.
And so, given any situation in which you're in a stressful environment over the course of several weeks and dealing with things 100% outside of your comfort zone, everyone's going to react differently to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would say that out of everything, I felt the most comfortable. I was in my element. I have been in places where I've just had to fend for myself and just meet people. My mother used to teach in Alaska all the time, and I'd meet 10 or 15 new people a day, you know, as part of her profession. And I have to get to know them and I have to be part of them. They're my mother's clients, so I have to like be friendly. Yeah. And I just got really good at interacting, you know, and on a consistent basis as well too. Yeah. Nerds tend to sometimes have a hard time with
dealing with other people. Yeah.
Other people. That's why they go and find solace in the people who understand them. Yeah. And that was the good thing, is that we all, in one way or another, totally understood each other.
Well, sure. I mean, even though it's we're all geeks / nerds. I mean, but there's always like that safe harbor in your comfort zone for
and the things that you love,
comic books,
and the things that you do. There's always something to talk about. And there's always something to be passionate about. Yeah. Which to this day I still say. Everyone is always like, "Oh, what's the definition of a nerd?" It's like, a nerd is just someone who's overeducated and passionate about
something.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a step above fanatic.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, if you want to be a nerd about bass fishing,
sure.
go.
Yeah.
Go tell me about every single lure that you have in your box right now. That's
Yeah.
no different than someone who's got a box full of minis.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, right. So on the topic of minis, let's a good segue. Let's so we can get we'll wrap it up because we got gamers waiting back there.
Yeah, we're running a demo for Outbreak
Yes,
right
so
now.
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Tell me about, we're talking about minis. Let's talk about your zombie role-playing game,
Sure.
Outbreak Undead. So give everybody the premise for it, how you came up with it.
Yeah, it was interesting because me and a couple of guys from college, like everyone always talked about their zombie survival plan.
Yeah, right.
So that was a cool, unique thing that we all talked about, and everyone in our class was as well too. Now, my friend Chris De La Rosa is an amazing writer, and essentially just came up with this idea for this role-playing game based on us all talking about our zombie survival plan.
Based on the plans.
And just for kicks, we said, hey, let's make a zombie game. Let's run it. Let's test our zombie survival plan.
Let's flesh it out, so to speak.
Let's flesh it out. But then at some point, we all realized this is really good.
Yeah.
No one's done this. Let's actually make it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the day it actually took off is the day that we signed up for Gen Con, and we're like, yes, we are going to Gen Con, and we are
Nice.
premiering this book in August of 2010. We
And
had
here we are.
1,000 books waiting for the day Gen Con happened.
Yeah.
And we sold. And we had the marketing fellowship, and we all basically worked our butts off in our spare time to make this book happen, and as a result form the company around it, which now makes role-playing games.
All right, that's great. That's great. And so you've got some expansions out for
Yeah,
it
we've
now?
got expansion. We have a module for it called Deep Space, which
Okay.
is this sci-fi plug-in for Outbreak Undead.
All right.
Allows you to run like the dead. Well, first of all, Outbreak Undead allows you to run any type of zombie apocalypse scenario under any circumstances you want, with any type of zombies that you want, to the degree of realism that you can actually play yourself as a character.
Nice.
So you go and you go to our website,
Yeah.
take a 40-question personality test, and once you're done with it, it'll actually pop out your core stats if you're to play yourself as a character. So we're all basically squishy zombie meat.
Right.
That's what we're all
That's
doing.
Great. So we
But-
can actually roll ourselves as characters.
Roll ourselves as
And we
characters.
can do this at your webpage, which is outbreakundead.com. All right. So
And you go there, and then you can actually test your zombie survival plan, because logically, all plans fail unless they're tested.
yeah, that's true.
It's true.
That's true.
So that's why we like to say your zombie survival plan will fail.
Will fail.
Because
Unless you
nobody's
prove
tested
it.
Unless you prove it. Do it. Make it
All right,
happen.
Ivan, thanks so much.
George,
It's great to
pleasure.
meet you again.
Awesome, yeah.
And have you up at the shop, and I hope we can get together again sometime in the future, maybe when you guys have another expansion on
Sure. And
Outbreak.
we actually have 3 new games that we're coming out with all next year as well too. Like, we're just keeping it moving, man.
I like it.
We
I
love
like it.
this. Making games is the most satisfying thing on the planet.
Slicers, go. Outbreakundead.com, check it out. Get his game.
We'll see you online.
All right.
Oh, very cool stuff there, guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go check that out at comicbookday.com, as well as we're everywhere. On the online, the YouTube, sliceSciFi.com, slicesci-fi.tv actually is probably your safest place to see it. We'll have
Because the other
that-
places are so dangerous.
Absolutely.
Out in the wilds of the interwebs.
But was that a cool interview or what?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cool guy.
Right? I love super nerds.
Oh, truly.
I understand there's some sort of open casting call going on for second season.
Oh, yeah, for King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparently let me see. It's through a special crowdsourced casting call conducted through the show's Facebook page.
Yeah, people get to vote in
They
somebody.
get to vote in someone.
Yeah.
And then finally, once that person is chosen, the people's nerd,
the people's nerd.
yeah,
Awesome.
will be then competing against the King of the Nerds as the champion of the masses.
Awesome.
Sadly, that won't be Ivan. He was, fourth on his season? I think he came in. That's pretty good.
He made it to the last episode, though. I think
Yeah.
all 4 of them were on the last episode.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And he was the only guy, too, right?
I don't remember, really?
I
Yeah.
think he was.
think so.
Ooh.
Yeah. And speaking of impressive, do you love that shop or what? You don't you just want to hang out at Hypno Comics?
Even
a
Ivan
pretty
said
cool
so.
shop.
It's lovely.
It's
you
gorgeous.
were geeking on the figurines,
Oh,
weren't you?
the figurines in the back. I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah,
had
those
we
were
had
good.
the Doctor Who. We had Doctor back there. We had the
Cyclops.
the Cyclops
Cyclops one was awesome.
beautiful. The Loki one was gorgeous. So yeah,
Yeah, George, we want to come visit you someday.
Yeah, you have
it's so
to
lovely
go
out
over and
there.
do that.
Oh, and plus, George is an awesome interviewer. I want him to do all our interviews. Oh my goodness.
Truly, we
Put him
actually
on the payroll.
I think we actually have a voicemail from Joe on
Joe,
some
do we? I
Marvel
did put it
comic
in
book
here.
stuff.
Yeah,
Hey,
that fits right in.
that works.
Let's throw that in there just to change it up a little bit.
Hey guys, it's Crazy Joe, and I wanted to talk to you about, you were talking about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and how they are the offspring of Magneto, and they're going to be in Avengers 2. Well, here's the way it breaks down. Fox and Disney have dual rights to those characters because they fall under the Avengers and the X-Men franchise. Both studios are allowed to use those characters, but Disney is not allowed to make reference to them being mutants or mention their parentage. So they can appear in Avengers 2, they just can't ever mention their father, at least by name. They could say their father is a powerful guy who controls magnets, I guess, but they can't say his name, and they can't say that they are mutants. So I guess they're just going to have to cloud their history in secrecy, or get the lawyers at Fox to strike some kind of deal so that mention can be made. But don't expect to see a cameo by Ian McKellen as Magneto, because that's probably not going to happen. But that's where we stand. They can be in the movie, but Fox owns rights to all the word mutant and all that, so their background will most likely be clouded in secrecy and not really spoken of, is my guess of the way it's going to go down. Or they could surprise us and strike a deal. Who knows?
Ah, man, they gotta strike a deal because
That's interesting,
I think that's just really. I think that's short-sighted thinking if that's the case, because allowing that property to live inside of another property builds that other property, builds the original source property. So
yeah, but
it makes sense.
It does, but I get like there's a lot of, if you allow them to do that, then how much control do you have over how they portray that piece of the property? And then how does that affect your property? And so I get that there's probably, I mean, if they're going to do it, there's some heavy detail and negotiating to work out.
I mean, if anybody's going to treat their property right, it's going to be Marvel. So, I mean, I can't imagine them screwing it up. And it's like, fine, put the deal in place that you get final approval on what
I'm saying, like, there'll have to be some, you know, agreements about how that works.
It's not so much Marvel, it's that it's divided between two powerhouse studios.
Yeah, exactly.
Publishers.
It's all about the money. It has nothing to do with the fans. The fans end up getting screwed because the money's in the middle of it.
I'm sure Marvel still has something to do with the X-Men stuff and all the Fox properties, and Sony is Spider-Man, right?
Right.
And Fox is X-Men.
Right.
So I'm sure Marvel still has something to do with that, but then there's all the legal stuff.
But they made those deals before they were.
They did, yeah.
Before they had their own like movie division
So it's like
and were
you were
heavy
saying,
in control. And
I'm sure Marvel does have some type of last, creative control or whatever. But you still have these two people who want money saying, "That's my character." No, it's my character. Well, it's my character.
Yeah.
Right, and it gets really complicated, especially when you start throwing in really awesome properties like the Avengers and Iron Man,
which
and
have tried to be really interconnected and really true to where they come from.
Exactly, and us as fans are sitting there going, "I want my Wolverine in my Avengers. Why can't I have that?"
Right,
and it's there's got to be a way to make this work.
I hope so.
Somehow.
I hope so.
The geeks must rise. We must all rise, people.
We'll all rise and take it back from Disney.
That's right.
We're going to make our own Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work really well.
That's not really our core competency.
No, you don't think we could make an Avengers movie just as good as Joss Whedon?
No. I'm going to go out on a limb and say negatory.
You know what? Somebody give me $230 million right now, and I will do my damnedest. I have an 8mm camera. I have some tripods.
We've got Noah. Noah is a great film knowledge resource.
That's right.
Someone already did it. It's called Avengers, a porn parody.
That is probably what Mike would do.
Yeah. Well, actually, what I was going to say is we could just shoot it in Mike's house in 12 days.
There you go.
That's what Joss Whedon did, right, with the Shakespeare? Yeah.
What the
Much Ado
hell?
About Nothing. It.
Hey,
Yeah.
it worked for a lot of things out there.
It's getting great reviews, right? The Much Ado About Nothing he shot in 12 days in his house. It's getting fantastic reviews. Joss Whedon.
Yeah. Dr. Horrible. I mean, look at what they did with Dr. Horrible. So,
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, Avengers got nothing on us.
I was saying there was a key ingredient that all had in common, which is, Joss Whedon.
Oh,
yeah,
darn.
that could be.
Which we don't have.
Well,
We don't
can
have that.
We can hire Joss to come.
we'll,
Yeah, I'm like, how
we'll
do we
hire
re-
Joss Whedon.
For the same thing I'm getting.
Come to Mike's house, 12 days.
There you go.
Easy
12
peasy.
days.
We could
Write
do
all the
easy.
dialogue.
We could do Joss
Great.
Whedon's slice of sci-fi.
Ooh, there we go. I like that.
Can we talk about Joe sending in video voicemails while he's
driving.
driving?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Joe,
that was
while driving.
buddy.
Looked like he was stuck in traffic this time.
I hope
though.
so. Stay safe. My goodness.
yeah, that's a little not right. So.
Just saying. I hope that was, a parking lot and there were just cars going by behind you.
I hope it was a green screen. I think it was just
That'd
a
be
green
even
screen.
better. That'd be even better.
I was looking at the trees and they were stationary for the most part.
Okay, so it was just cars going by behind him.
Yeah.
All right, we worry about you.
All righty. Well, that's going to do it for this show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that little foray into comic book and geekdom and everything. If you have any comments, the number's 206-339-TREK. That's 206-339-8735. Of course, go to itscomicbookday.com and also to slicesci-fi.com, slicesci-fi.tv, and we follow us on the Facebooks and the Twitters and all that fun stuff. We will be back with more in just a day. Very short.